A Happy Birthday Hug. Story by Janet Anderson. Pictures by Joe Ewers. Follow along with me. When you hear this sound, turn the page. Betsy peered through the shiny glass door into the 5 and 10 cent store. It was her favorite store. There were so many great things to see and to buy.
Come on, Mom,
she called. Okay, said her mother, pushing the door open.
Let's go. Do you have your money?
Betsy squeezed her purse and nodded. She could feel the crisp new dollar bill inside.
What are you going to get Timmy for his birthday tomorrow?
Asked her mother.
I don't know yet,
said Betsy.
Mom, can I pick it out and buy it all by myself? I'll just stay in this one aisle. I won't take long.
All right,
said her mother.
I'll be in the next aisle keeping an eye on you, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. Be careful.
I will,
promised Betsy. The store was crowded, and Betsy walked slowly. She looked at everything with wide eyes. Those rainbow barrettes. That tiny wind-up doll. But her brother Timmy wouldn't want barrettes or a doll. Timmy was going to be 3 years old tomorrow, and he loved trucks. Maybe she could find him a little dump truck, a red one. She stopped short. Piled high right in front of her were the biggest, best candy bars in the world. Uncle Joe had given her one last year for her birthday, and Betsy had never tasted anything so good in her life. Betsy thought about the money in her purse. She thought about Timmy's birthday. Then she thought about how the candy bar would taste, melting in her mouth, bite after bite. Before she could think anymore, she picked one up and almost ran with it to the checkout counter. A minute later, she had a small bag in her hand.
Did you find something good for Timmy?
Asked her mother, walking up to her.
Sure,
mumbled Betsy.
But it's a surprise.
When Betsy got home, she hid the candy bar in her closet. She would wrap it up for Timmy later. She began to read a book, but she couldn't get her mind off the delicious candy bar. After a few minutes, she ran into her closet, got it out, and gulped it down in a hurry. That night, Betsy couldn't sleep. A stomach full of candy bar was only part of the reason she felt sick. Tomorrow was Timmy's birthday, and she had nothing to give him. And what would her mother say when she found out how Betsy had spent her money? Betsy was allowed to eat chocolate only on very special occasions. It was an awful night. The next day was no better. Everybody was getting ready for Timmy's party. Her mother was making a cake. Her father was blowing up balloons. Betsy wandered sadly into her room. She felt miserable. All of a sudden, a cute little person stepped out of the mirror and threw herself into Betsy's arms.
Hi, I'm Patootie,
said the creature.
I've been watching you.
When she saw the surprised look on Betsy's face, she said,
I'm sorry to have startled you. Hug me and say it's all right.
Without thinking, Betsy hugged. The little person hugged her back hard. Hugworks rose above them, and hug dust sparkled in the air.
Thanks,
Patootie said.
That makes me feel so much better. Hugs make everything all right, don't they? But I forgot. You don't know that yet, do you?
Betsy slumped down on her bed.
All I know is that I feel terrible. Nobody can make what I did right. You can,
said the little person.
The Hugga Bunch will show you how. Come on, they're waiting to meet you. But who are the Hugga Bunch? And how do I meet them?
Asked Betsy.
I'll explain later,
said Patootie.
For now, just give me another hug, the biggest one you've got.
Betsy closed her eyes and hugged Patootie as hard as she could. Hugwork sparkled over them. Patootie grabbed Betsy by the hand and pulled her through the mirror. When Betsy opened her eyes, her bedroom was gone. She was surrounded by soft colors and friendly faces.
Meet the Hugga Bunch,
said Patootie, pointing at the crowd. Betsy tried, but she couldn't smile back. If they all knew what she'd done, she was sure they wouldn't look so friendly. Suddenly, somebody was hugging her.
Come on now,
said the little person.
Hug up, smile up, cheer up.
Betsy couldn't help smiling at the cheerful little face in front of her.
Betsy,
said Patootie.
Meet Bubbles. Come on now,
said Bubbles.
Another smile. You can do it. Troubles don't just go away. You have to hug them away.
But you can't hug away what I did,
said Betsy.
I ate Timmy's birthday present. He's going to... Ouch!
Somebody had stepped on her toe.
Oh, no,
said Patootie.
First I scare you, and then I step on your toe. Why do I always get myself into trouble? You're going to hate me.
She drooped, all smiles gone. Betsy rubbed her toe. It did hurt, but she couldn't stand the sad look on Patootie's face.
That's all right, Patootie. You didn't mean to.
And then Patootie was hugging her again. But it was a different kind of hug this time. It was a hug with a question mark, and it needed an answer.
Do you forgive me?
asked Patootie.
Of course I do,
Betsy said, and hugged Patootie back. As Betsy hugged, her toes stopped hurting. In fact, she felt better all over. Patootie was happy again.
Now you see that I'm sorry hugs are special and they work. I know because I use them a lot.
Yes,
said Betsy slowly, thinking it out.
I was hurt and you were hurt. And now we're not. Why, hugs heal hurt.
Way to go!
Shouted Bubbles.
Let's hear it for hugs. H-U-G!
Shouted Betsy. Hug dust showered over them. In the twinkling of an eye, she was sitting on the grass in her backyard, and Timmy was running toward her.
My birthday!
He cried.
I know,
said Betsy.
But I did something wrong. I ate your birthday present. No present?
asked Timmy. His face fell. Betsy knelt in front of him. Would a hug really help? Hug dust sparkled in the air, and Betsy could hear the Hugga Bunch encouraging her.
I'm sorry,
Betsy said.
But I'll make it up to you. Tomorrow I'll babysit and earn the money for a brand new truck, and we can shop for it together. But for now, will you hug me and say it's all right?
Timmy hesitated and then threw his arms around her in a big hug.
All right!
He shouted, and it was.